Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Despite the fact that yesterday the market absolutely cratered, and by the way, of course, not just crypto, if you look in traditional finance, look at equities, wow, bloody day out there. Despite the fact that this has happened, we are in the same position as XRP holders that we were the day before that. It doesn't matter. This is a now or never moment. And I think it's fair to argue that that's really broadly true for much of the market. It's certainly specifically true of XRP, though. And it's never been so perfectly primed. So the fact that we happened to have a pullback yesterday isn't some sort of indication that it's all off. The party's over, ain't gonna happen, right? That's not the case. That is not what that means. In fact, I'm going to share with you perspective from various analysts and a couple on-chain analytics firms, which I think is going to, I think it's persuasive. You guys tell me what you think, but I think it's probably going to sway most of you out there to believe that, frankly, this party, it's probably just getting started, at least as far as when the blow-off phase is going to happen. Yes, we've been climbing out of the bear market since the end of 2022. We've been in bull market for arguably throughout pretty much all of 2023 and this year. But if you're talking about specifically the blow-off top phase, which is the most fun phase, there's reason to believe that is still indeed ahead. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I am just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby, and just for fun. As I record this video, it is early here, 3:29 a.m. Central Time, my time zone, here in the good old Midwest in the United States. Now, Saturday, August 3rd, 2024, XRP just a hair below 57 cents. Bitcoin at 61,744 bucks, and this won't surprise you. The Crypto Fear and Greed Index, 37 out of 100. So we are back in fear. And so I will say what I frequently say when we get into a particular area of the Crypto Fear and Greed Index for the first time. Now that we're for the first time back in fear in a hot minute, I will tell you that at some unknown point in the future, we will be back into greed and ultimately at some point extreme greed. I know that's going to happen. I don't pretend to know when. But as a result of my conviction that such is true, it makes no sense to be fearful because the market dipped yesterday. Nothing goes up in a straight line forever, but this does show you that the typical human out there feeling a very scare, and a lot of people making important financial decisions based on the feels. Here's a post from OnChain Analytics firm Glassnode. And this really says a lot here. And let me just read it, and then I got some commentary for you. So check this out. From Glassnode, long-term investors currently hold 45% of the network wealth. We're talking about Bitcoin here, which is relatively elevated compared to near macro cycle topping events. This underscores that long-term holders hold the coins in hodl mode and are arguably patiently waiting for higher prices to divest into market strength. And so this is why I'm a huge fan of Glassnode and Santiment, the on-chain analytics firms that I follow the most. They present data, they show historical context, and then they state what it means from a historical perspective without peppering any sort of additional commentary on top, typically anyway. And so what they're saying here is, guys, there's still a lot of long-term holders that have their Bitcoin. I'll tell you who doesn't have their Bitcoin at the peaks of markets. It's long-term holders. So, I mean, yes, some do keep holding. I'm not saying literally everyone here, but look at this. 45% they stay here. Now, like, do you think this thing's done or not? These people, they are waiting till there's a higher price, and then some of them will sell into that market strength. Eventually, Bitcoin becomes overbought, and then the bubble inflates, it pops, and so on and so forth. But does this look like that moment? I mean, look at the last couple cycles. Look at 2021. Look at 2017. Look at the bear market in 2018. It doesn't. I know it's one piece of the puzzle, but I highlight all sorts of pieces of the puzzle in multiple videos as days and weeks pass. And I'm just saying this is one more thing to look at, which should help to add to the conviction that in terms of what's probable, though we don't know for sure, this market cycle probably not over. It's one more piece of the puzzle. Here's a post from OnChain Analytics from Santiment. Crypto markets have retraced across the board, leaving traders calling for sub $50,000 Bitcoin once again. However, history shows that when we see such low 7-day average trader returns for top caps like Bitcoin, ETH, Cardano, XRP, Doge, and Link, bounce probabilities rise significantly. And so again, on-chain analytics firm sentiment, they're just saying, hey, here's some data. Based on what the data shows, here's what typically follows. Which is why, again, I'm such a huge fan of Glassnode and Sentiment. They really just do great work here. And so, what's most probable? You're going to see a pop. Yesterday was not the end of the world. I can assure you of that. Here's a post from chart analyst Mustache, hashtag Bitcoin. Brutal market. And he said this just last night. So after we saw the precipitous drop in crypto markets and equities, of course, he says, the last 4 times the USDT dominance touched the weekly SMA 200 line as resistance, we've always seen an uptrend in altcoins and Bitcoin in the weeks following. USDT dominance has reached that point again. It's now or never. And so, again, one more piece of the puzzle, just historical perspective. What happens typically at this point? When this happens, ultimately pop. And so it doesn't mean it happens today. It doesn't mean necessarily that it happens tomorrow, even if it takes weeks, whatever it ends up being. The point is, there's reason to suppose that what is most probable is ultimately a move to the upside. The party's not over. And so when he says it's now or never, he doesn't literally mean today, of course. And I certainly don't mean that when I say that about XRP. Yeah, we're in this moment in time where it's now or never. This is with this environment, the metrics being what they are, yes, it's now or never. It doesn't literally mean today or tomorrow or next week, so on and so forth, next month. But this is that moment in time in the cycle where if it's going to happen, this is it. That is still where we are with XRP, despite what happened yesterday. XRP has been showing incredible strength. And so if we're going to have a proper bull market and alt season, yeah, you better believe XRP is going to participate. Here's another reason that it makes sense to believe that what's most probable is we are going to see that. This is from chart analyst Rickus. And so it's not labeled here, but this is obviously Bitcoin. You can tell by the price right there. And I'm no chart guy, but I believe that this bottom part here is the relative strength index for Bitcoin. And so he's making some points here. He says, here's what he wrote. Not topped, in my opinion, and should see a bounce sooner than later into the next close. And so what did he highlight? What did he circle here? Well, this is the all-time Bitcoin price chart. So obviously Bitcoin launched in 2009. We have price data going back to 2010. And what is he showing here? When the RSI is at this point where it's basically oversold, it lines up with market tops going back to 2011. If you're looking at the screen, you see what I'm talking about here. They all line up here. What's different? What's different is where we are now. That does not look like a market top. In fact, look at how long we've been consolidating here. If this is really the end of the party, then this time actually is different. Because you can see what the peaks look like dating back to, the first major one in 2011. They don't look like what we're living in right now. And you can look at the chart below here, or the RSI for the Bitcoin chart here. He's noting that in 2017 we saw something similar where there was this kind of dip here. Party wasn't over. Rocketed to the upside. So take it for what it's worth. Again, it's just another piece of the puzzle you can look at, and we'll see what comes to pass. But I'm optimistic, I'll say. Here's a post from Mikey Bull Crypto, hashtag altcoins. Is alt season canceled for this cycle? The chart tells you no, it's coming in full force when it leaves the reaccumulation phase. It has been the longest consolidation in history, meaning it will run higher for longer. And so he posted that in the morning yesterday. What happened yesterday doesn't change a damn thing. The phrase is, the wider the base, the higher in space. Consolidation, that's what he's talking about here. The longer something consolidates, the greater the force. And this is, as he stated here, the longest accumulation phase in history for the asset class. If it pops, man, that's why I'm like, I mean what I'm saying here. We'll see what comes to pass, and I admit nobody knows for sure, but this would you agree? Like, it seems like that now or never moment. Here's a post about XRP from chart analyst Crypto Michael. He says, I think XRP will hold up better than most altcoins this week. And then he followed that up with the chart that's on your screen, XRP BTC. So it's XRP price against Bitcoin. And this is just going back the past several days. It's a 1-hour chart. And you can see that even after the bloodbath of yesterday, XRP outperforming Bitcoin, moving to the upside. XRP price against Bitcoin. You'll love to see it. Very happy to see that. And here you can see on longer time frames, this is a 3-month chart. You can see the bottom was on June 7th. It's just been moving up. And after the bloodbath, XRP actually not looking that bad price against Bitcoin, all things considered. Here's a post from the great Matsby, and basically he's making the point that, XRP, even if it's in a new trading range now, if you want to call it that, we're just sitting here. It's range bound. It's still going to break out. The reason I wanted to highlight this is, like, from what I've seen from analyst after analyst after analyst as it pertains to XRP, is what's happened yesterday, of course, and this shouldn't surprise you unless you're brand new, in which case, welcome to the party. What happened yesterday does nothing to change the perspective of what's going to happen with XRP by the end of this cycle. And what I keep seeing from analyst after analyst after analyst, with very rare exception, is XRP will hit a new all-time high in enterprise discovery. And so, I buy into the narrative that that's what's going to happen so long as we have an alt season. If a black swan event happens and there's no alt season and the world falls apart, okay, that's totally different though. Outside of something like that, I absolutely anticipate that's what's most probable. And in fact, if that doesn't happen, if XRP doesn't hit a new all-time high at a minimum, and we do have an alt season, it's time for us to have our come to Jesus moment and find out maybe look inward and see if we're actually missing something, because that would be bizarre. It's consolidated for 7 freaking years, legal clarity, the whole 9 yards, all this utility, you name it. XRP's coming up roses here. If it doesn't hit a new all-time high, that does not compute to me. It will make me wonder if something is amiss. And we'll have to talk about it as a community at the time if that happens. I don't think that's what's probable, though. Could happen, but I don't think that's probable. Here's a post from XRP chart analyst Dr. Magic, and this is an XRP ETH chart, so XRP price against ETH, and he says, while I'm a big bull on both of them and believe that both going to outperform Bitcoin in the next leg up, I must admit I'm way more bullish on XRP than ETH, and this zone will be eventually reclaimed. And so if you want to see the zone, you'll have to look at the screen. He's talking about down here, of course. Let me pause to say this, though. Of course he's right. And you don't have to be a chart guy to understand a concept like this. XRP, which historically was battling for that number 2 spot against ETH in previous cycles, though not so much the last one because of the SEC attack, but outside of that, XRP actually was, and XRP has been number 2 in market cap for the entire asset class a handful of times over the years. And there's so much less money in XRP than ETH right now, it will take way less flowing in to get a doubling, tripling, quadrupling effect. So yeah, of course, I absolutely expect that XRP is going to dwarf whatever the hell ETH does this cycle if we're going to have an alt season and certain things are going to take off. Yes, I'd be shocked if ETH outperforms XRP by the time this is all done. And so ETH may very well run first, and there's precedent for that. But by the time this is done, if XRP hasn't outperformed, I'd be very surprised. And then Dr. Magic says, that being said, right now we are at resistance, and until we reclaim this zone, I will remain cautious here. This chart doesn't affect XRP USD because ETH USD downside is very limited from here. So take it for what it's worth, but I just wanted to share this quick video with you because I think it makes sense to be an optimist here, frankly. I understand that lots of people are scared, but wouldn't you expect that? Because, history shows us that this happens. The typical lemming retail speculator does get scared, and they do make important financial decisions with their feels. We should expect that. This is normal. It's par for the course. I've seen this an untold number of times in my nearly 7 years in crypto at this point. This is a big nothing. It's not going to end. And in the event that all of these analysts are wrong, and this time is different, and history is actually going to be different, we're actually entering a bear market, my attitude still is, so what? Even if this is the first time that's ever happened, because years will pass, or however long it takes, and the market will still rebound. And I'm still going to hold, and I'm not going to sell at a loss, so it doesn't matter to me. I sleep easy. This stuff doesn't matter. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say are right. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.